All right, team, it's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Houston. Wherever you are, thank you all very much for joining us for our approximately monthly webinar series sponsored by the Journal of Cardiovascular Aging, or JCA. And my gratitude to the publisher for sponsoring this. These are really highlights of the month for me because we really invite prominent physicians and physician scientists to give these, who have made original impactful discoveries, to give these webinars. And today is a very special treat for us. One of our most prominent physician scientists and world-class leader in myocardial remodeling, fibrosis, and inflammation, Dr. Nick Frangogiannis is our speaker. This particular lecture is named after Dr. Gabbiani, who gave us permission. We are grateful to him for this, to name this lecture after him. Dr. Gabbiani, about 50 years ago, identified myofibroblasts and noticed that this special form of fibroblasts express skeletal alpha-actin and become and attain different characteristics than fibroblasts. And he made this fundamental discovery that has changed the field. To that also, we are very grateful to Dr. Gabbiani. Just briefly about the Journal of Cardiovascular Aging, we are entering our third year of publishing, and overall, we have published very good articles. We really pay attention to content and quality, and as long as your data is valid, we will be working with you to get it published. Our mantra, I have a few podcasts that I would like you to look at the journal website. One of them is empowering the authors. Really, we wish the authors to have the final say in publications, not the reviewers. Of course, we seek peer review, but we use peer review as consults, and editors are exceedingly active, in contrast to many of journals in which editors are simply traffic officers and look at the green lights or red lights to decide. At JCA, we are active. We work with the authors to make decisions, and you are empowered, as long as your data is valid, to overcome any critiques that reviewers might have. We do not encourage unnecessary redundant experiments of the reviewers. You have the ultimate say. Keep that in mind. We have distinguished group of editors. You can see a journal webpage. We are an open access journal. And we have published now 104 articles. And we have getting good downloads and good citations to our articles. And we also have a number of features, including in addition to original review articles, perspective editorials, and commentaries. We have also Early Career Investigator Forum, which is run by Dr. Laila Ruhi. The podcast that I mentioned to you, that largely emphasizes our approach to publishing, which is really empowering the authors. And we have a number of webinars, and we have done a few of them. And this is today's webinar by Dr. Nick Frangogiannis, who is endowed professor at Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Nick received his MD from Athens University, then came to Baylor College of Medicine, and he pursued a physician scientist path. And after training in cardiology and becoming a cardiologist, he was recruited by Dr. Mark Entman, who is the host of the meeting, one of the pioneering myocardial fibrosis and remodeling, recruited Nick to his program. And together they made fundamental discoveries that I will briefly mention. And then Nick subsequently was recruited to Albert Einstein. That's where he currently holds the endowed chair that he currently has. Nick's work has been largely on myocardial remodeling post-injury, particularly myocardial infarction. His foray into cardiovascular science was his seminal discovery that there is crosstalk between pro and anti-inflammatory molecules and cells in the heart, and that resolution of inflammation is essential for recovery of cardiac function. And he moved on delineating the role of interleukin-2, as you all know, now has been subject to extensive research on monoclonal antibodies and to target for various cardiovascular pathology, including heart failure, currently in clinical trial stage. Likewise, Nick made a seminal discovery of the role of extracellular matrix proteins, oh my God, I never say that right, thrombosponding in myocardial remodeling. And he further on moved to delineate dispersion of the functional dispersions of the SMAD and TGF downstream molecules in myocardial remodeling, each exerting different functional effect. Nick has published his discoveries in over 250 publications. One of the characteristics of Nick publications that each publication gets highly cited in each, and he has over 25,000 citations. He is recognized. This is Web Clarivate by Google. He is around 40,000. And he is recognized as one of the top cited scientists of our time. And indeed, I believe in 2022, he was the top scientist. He has H-index of close to 100, and it is one of the highly cited authors that all editors compete to recruit him to write for their journal. And I know that firsthand because we try to recruit him to at least a couple of journals that I'm involved, and he has promised to write for JCA as well. And we are most eager to receive his review. And he just recently wrote his commentary that is currently in proofreading stage. And I would like you to read that. It's one of the one of the characteristics of Nick is an amazingly honest, amazingly unbiased and fair editor and reviewer. He'll give his opinion one of the most frank and straightforward way. And this is also evident on his last commentary that he wrote for JCA that should be out any day. Nick has received numerous awards for his contributions. Notable among them is the Young Investigator Award from American Association of Immunologists, Jack Award from American College of Cardiology, and he was inducted to American Society of Clinical Investigators, so-called Young Turks. He's no longer young, but nonetheless, ASCI Society, which is quite considered prestigious, is on editorial board of several journals. He's associate editor of JCA and also associate editor of JACC, Basic to Translational Research. And as I said, one of the most honest and biased investigator and reviewer and editor that is out there. Nick is really a very selfless person. He is reviews for every journal, despite his heavy schedule. He reviews for NIH study sections. He was the chair of NIH study section, and he will, it's just anytime in doubt, just simply consult him. He will give you his very straightforward and honest evaluation, and extensive, I should say, evaluation. Again, our gratitude to Nick and our gratitude to Dr. Gabbiani for letting us to name this lecture after him. And my gratitude to Dr. Entman, who has served as a mentor to many of us, including Nick, for decades. Dr. Entman, would you like to say anything? Otherwise, I will ask Nick to share his slide. I'm going to stop sharing my slide now.
I just like to thank you for inviting me here this morning. I can't help but notice that this particular area started by us noticing that some of the animals, as they got older, had changes. And then we spent a lot of time making studies in that direction, which actually suffered from the post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy, and finally turned around to start looking at specifically what were things that were associated with aging. And my association with this particular area inevitably includes Dr. Fangio Giannis, because he was in the laboratory and leading many of the studies, even at the very beginning, and I was cheering him on and getting credit for it. So I'm glad to be here this morning and welcome him, and I always love to see him. Thank you.